Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, your friendly neighborhood finance professor. Today on the Black Financial Channel, papers. The Pandora Papers might be the biggest financial leak in history. This is a big deal. A team of journalists just uncovered something called the Pandora Papers, where they found out all the dirty little secrets of rich people and all the stuff that they don't want the rest of the public to understand. So, buckle up, seatbelt, get comfortable. We're gonna get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about black wealth and black economics every single day under one condition. You don't have to be black to be here, but you got to be B1. B1 means we're black first. That means we put our community at the top of the priority list. B1 also means we understand we must be one to be successful. B1 also means that by the year 2070, B1 kids are going to lead the world in economics and wealth. So it's a 60-year plan. We are in year 10, and we have already achieved goals that are far beyond our wildest imagination. We got rappers rapping about economics. And if you remember back in the day, on this platform, this is one of the first places anywhere on the internet that you were actually hearing consistent radical black talk about black wealth and black economics. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. We almost had 250,000,000 views. We hit about 128 million on Your Black World TV, about another 60 million on Dr. Boyce TV, several million on Fly Nubian Queen and the Black Financial Channel. I mean, we are a powerhouse of a media network now, clearing probably about 4 million views a month. So take that, oppressor. Black people are kicking ass. Anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Hey, Letha and Antonio and Sherry Holloway, excuse me, Dorothea, Thea, and Amina Malone. Hello, Shelton and Tony. Put your B1 in the chat. Put your B1. Let us know that you're B1. All right, so here's what I want to talk to you guys about. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if you heard about the Pandora Papers. The Pandora Papers is a really interesting development that just popped up in the media. And the Pandora Papers, according to many experts, this might be one of the great financial leaks in history. The Pandora Papers is basically a situation where a team of global journalists got together and they dug all up in the business of rich people. They literally dug deep into their business and found out that a whopping 11 trillion with a T, not billion, trillion, 11.3 trillion dollars is being hidden in offshore accounts, in shell corporations, in all these places so that they can avoid accountability, taxation, and everything else. I'm going to read some of this to you. I'm going to switch my screen for a minute. I got to be quick because my wife, I promised my wife we go running tonight. And y'all know when a beautiful black woman like her tells you what she needs, you show up and make sure you get it done. So I'm going to be there for my wife. But I had to be there for y'all because I love y'all the most. And well, I'm not scratching. I can't say that. No, don't tell. No, that was such a bad thing. Don't say that, boys. I love this like a tie. Well, she's my baby though, but y'all were here first. So anyway, here we go. All right, so let me read the article. It says this is from International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, offshore havens of hidden riches and world leaders and billionaires exposed in unprecedented leak. Now, this is according to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. And it says that, let me just read from this because it's interesting. They said millions of leaked documents in the biggest journalism partnership in history have uncovered financial secrets of 35 current and former world leaders, more than 330 politicians and public officials in 91 countries and territories, and a global lineup of fugitives, con artists, and murderers. The secret documents expose offshore dealings of the King of Jordan, the presidents of Ukraine, Kenya, and Ecuador, the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. The files also detail financial activities of Russian President Vladimir Putin's unofficial minister of propaganda and more than 130 billionaires from Russia, the United States, Turkey, and other nations. The leaked records reveal that many of the power players who could help bring an end to the offshore system instead benefit from it, stashing assets in covert companies and trusts, while their governments do little to slow a global stream of illicit money that enriches criminals and impoverished nations. So how about that? Like literally, just the intro got me right there, where literally they're basically saying, and this is kind of what this is this is the fix, right? I've always told you all that America. It's not just America though. Like when I say that America is corrupt, yeah, it is, but it's kind of everywhere. The fix is in a lot of the very same people who are responsible for creating economic equality are the people who benefit most by creating more economic inequality. These were the people that earned probably a couple $1 trillion in excess wealth during the pandemic. I bet that 11.3 trillion that they have now was probably less than 10 trillion before the pandemic began. So stay woke, man. I mean, this is not a game. So let me tell you. Let me read more of this to you. It says the leak records reveal that many of the power players. Okay, I already said that. Among the hidden treasures revealed in the documents, a $22 million chateau in the French Riviera, replete with a cinema and 2 swimming pools, purchased through offshore companies by the Czech Republic's populist prime minister, a billionaire who has rallied against the corruption of economic and political elites. So he's literally running around talking about like that we need to take down the elite, the rich are evil, let's go get the rich. And he's got this hidden $22 million chateau. Okay, and like, and that's true in the United States too. I mean, pretty much all the liberals that are anti-wealth, whether you're talking about Bernie Sanders or whoever, most of them make probably at least 20 times more than the average American, at least that much, right? So there's not a crime in being wealthy, right? I don't think it's a matter of vilifying all rich people, but it's really a matter of kind of saying, what does equality look like, right? And I personally will tell you that I think that we can have rich people, live free and coexist with the rest of the world, but still expect them to pay higher taxes. Because I don't know if y'all heard, I'm gonna read more of the article in a second, but how many of y'all heard? Did y'all hear about what was going on with Biden and the Cash App? Did y'all hear about that? Where they're starting to track Cash App payments like over $600. If you don't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. You need to write this down. They're gonna start digging in. And a lot of y'all that got those little Cash App businesses where you making that money and they just, hey, hit me in my Cash App. You got to declare that on your taxes. You got to talk to your tax accountant. Send over. Cash App will issue a financial statement for you at the end of the year. Get that to your tax person so they can document that, right? So, so they're going after people with $600 in the Cash App. But what's interesting is that you have billionaires, people literally making like $10 million a day, who are able to have all these massive tax write-offs that are just ridiculous. In fact, in America, the reason that your country is $28 trillion in debt and in danger of defaulting, every time they have to raise the debt ceiling, is because rich people don't pay taxes in America most of the time. The taxes are paid by the working class. Like, so if you make 80 grand and you don't have any write-offs, you're going to pay taxes on, let's say you pay 35 grand in taxes out of that 80 grand. So you're going to keep maybe 60%, maybe 70% if you're lucky of that wealth. I'd say it's about 60%, 65%, whatever, right? Well, if you are a business owner or a wealthy person, you make that same 80,000 or you make 80 million, you can get enough write-offs where you literally get to keep the whole 80 million. Like, and so ultimately it's fascinating that this was revealed because the Pandora Papers, to me, is just sort of a glaring reflection of how the people in charge of reducing the inequality are actually the ones who are creating and benefiting from the inequality. So do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, and the URL to Financial Juneteenth is right there, financialjuneteenthtv.com. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, in the black wealth and all that, it's black wealth every day, all day. So feel free to subscribe there. It's a good channel. All right, so here we go. It says also in the Pandora Papers is revealed more than $13 million tucked in secrecy, shaded trust in the Great Plains of the United States by a scion of one of Guatemala's most famous families, a dynasty that controls a soap and lipstick conglomerate that's been accused of harming workers in the earth. 3 beachfront mansions in Malibu, purchased through 3 offshore companies for $68 million by the King of Jordan in the years after Jordanians filled the streets during Arab Spring to protest joblessness and corruption. So you got people that are protesting in the streets over missing jobs, massive corruption, extreme poverty, hunger. And, this dude's able to go buy, just buy these mansions in Malibu just so he can have them, like spare mansions in addition to his main mansion, I guess. The secret records are known as the Pandora Papers. The international consortium of investigative journalists obtained the trove of more than 11.9 million confidential files and led a team of more than 600 journalists from 150 news outlets that spent 2 years sifting through them, tracking down hard-to-find sources and digging into court records and other public documents from dozens of countries. The leaked records come from 14 offshore services firms from around the world that set up shell companies and other offshore nooks of clients often seeking to keep their financial activities in the shadows. The records include information about the dealings of nearly 3 times as many current and former country leaders as any previous leak of documents from offshore havens. In an era of widened authoritarianism and inequality, the Pandora Papers investigation provides an unequal perspective on how money and power operate in the 21st century and how the rule of law has been bent and broken around the world by a system of financial secrecy enabled by the U.S. and other wealthy nations. The finding by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and its media partners spotlight how deeply secretive finance has infiltrated global politics and offer insights into why governments and global organizations have made little headway in ending offshore financial abuses. Now, here's the reason that this got me excited, besides the fact that, finance is my thing. You guys know my background. I taught finance at Syracuse University for all those years and all this other stuff. And I also taught around the world. I taught in China. I taught in part in Europe. I've taught in, went to Guyana for a semester with my wife. So I've been able to see financial systems around the globe. That's my point. Here's what I want to reiterate to you, and I've hit this, a couple times on this platform if you've been listening carefully. And this is something you have to understand about global economic warfare. The biggest virus in the world is not, the one that they've been talking about in the media. That virus, to me, 99.8% of you are going to survive and live through that virus. The biggest virus in the world in America, or excuse me, the biggest virus in the world right now, in my view, is what I would call extreme capitalism. Right? Not capitalism itself. I'm not a person who's anti-capitalist. I'm just not, because I don't like those boxes. I don't, there are some good ideas in socialism. There's some good ideas in communism. There's some good ideas in Marxism. There's some good ideas in capitalism. I tend to believe in free markets. I do. But the problem with unregulated capitalism, almost like a fire, my aunt in Atlanta had a fire in her basement. And fire itself is not evil, right? When my aunt's basement got burned up last week, and I checked on my aunt, me and my wife went to see her. My aunt didn't sit around saying, God, fire is terrible. They need to ban fire. I'm anti-fire. No, my aunt was upset about her basement burning up because it was not the fire that she was mad at. It was the fact that the fire was not regulated. Right? It's when the fire gets out of control that it becomes dangerous. It's when the fire gets out of the cage and you can't stop it. Right? So capitalism is like fire. It's very powerful like fire. I don't think that free markets and capitalism are a bad thing. But when you don't have proper regulation of those markets, then what you get is what you have right now, which is where the virus of unregulated capitalism starts to infect and infiltrate your political systems all throughout the globe. I don't care if you have a capitalist country, it's probably been infected. I don't care if you have a communist country, it's probably been infected. China's been infected too. China has widespread corruption all throughout its government, right? And so ultimately, the big problem that you have, particularly in America, since most of us live here, is you have a situation where the dope dealers are also running the police station, so to speak. The people that are responsible for protecting, the poor from the rich are also part of the rich. So their incentive to provide those protections is limited. And when they actually try to provide those protections, the system kicks them out and replaces them with somebody else who's willing to play ball. So what the Pandora Papers are revealing, which is really interesting, is that there are hundreds, probably thousands of political leaders around the globe who have a really disturbing conflict of interest. They're sort of run around with this populist rhetoric, like, yeah, fight the power, we're gonna go get it done. Kind of like those civil rights superstars or those Negroes you see on TV claiming to be black leaders. Yeah, fighting, we're gonna fight the oppressor. We're gonna go get the oppressor. But yet you working for the oppressor. You make money every time the oppressor makes money. So it's kind of hard for you to fight the oppressor if you're fighting yourself. Like, you're fighting yourself because you and the oppressor are aligned. Right. So the same thing is true when you talk about the oppressive capitalism that exists throughout the world. The people who claim to be fighting it are the people who are benefiting from it. So it kind of creates a really stupid system that kind of gets your wheels spinning. They get you pumped up. They know how to manipulate your emotions to get behind a certain agenda. But at the end of the day, rich people gonna take care of rich people, right? So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. And by the way, there's my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins one. If you want to follow me on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter. I need some smart black people to follow me because I'm tired of the idiots. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see. An analysis of the secret documents in the Pandora Papers identified 956 companies in offshore havens tied to 336 high-level politicians and public officials, including country leaders, cabinet ministers, ambassadors, and others. More than two-thirds of those companies were set up in the British Virgin Islands, a jurisdiction long known as a key cog in the offshore system. At least 11.3 trillion is held offshore, according to a 2020 study by the Paris-based Organization for for Economic Cooperation and Development. Because of the complexity and secrecy of the offshore system, it is not possible to know how much of that wealth is tied to tax evasion and other crimes, and how much of it involves funds that come from legitimate sources and have been reported to proper authorities. The Pandora Papers investigation unmasked the covert owners of offshore companies, incognito bank accounts, private jets, yachts, mansions, and even artworks by Picasso, Banksy, and other masters, providing more information than what's usually available to law enforcement agencies and cash-strapped governments. People linked by the secret documents to offshore assets include India's cricket superstar Sachin, I can't say his last name, Tendulkar, pop music diva Shakira, supermodel Claudia Schiffer, and an Italian mobster known as Lel the Fat One. That's kind of a funny name. Lel the Fat One. Okay. Guess his bank account must be fat. The mobster, Rafael Amato, has been tied to at least a dozen killings. The documents provide details about a shell company registered in the United Kingdom that Amato used to buy land in Spain shortly before fleeing there from Italy to set up his own crime gang. Amato, whose history helped inspire the highly praised movie Gomorrah, is serving a 20-year prison sentence. Amato's attorney did not respond for comment. Basically, they said in most countries, it's not illegal to have assets offshore or to use shell companies to do business across national borders. Business people who operate internationally say they need offshore companies to conduct their financial affairs. But these affairs often amount to shifting profits. Pay attention now. This is interesting. This is why your government debt is $28 trillion. But these affairs often amount to shifting profits from high tax countries where they are earned to companies that exist only on paper in low tax jurisdictions. Using offshore shelters is especially controversial for political figures because they can be used to keep politically unpopular or even illicit activities from public view. In popular imagination, the offshore system is often seen as a far-flung cluster of palm-shaded islands. The Pandora Papers show that the offshore money machine operates in every corner of the planet, including the world's largest democracies. The key players in the system include elite institutions, multinational banks, law firms, and accounting practices headquartered in the US and Europe. A document in the Pandora Papers shows that banks around the world help their customers set up at least 3,926 offshore companies with the assistance of Aleman, Cordero, Galindo, and Lee, a Panamanian law firm led by a former ambassador to the US. The document shows that the firm, also known as Alcogo, set up at least 312 companies in the British Virgin Islands for clients of the American financial services giant Morgan Stanley. So here's what that's saying, right? Let me give you the Dr. Boyce breakdown on that right quick. Basically, Morgan Stanley is sending their clients to this law firm that's in these other countries that's helping them set up fake corporations to pretend like their money is there. And they do that in order to help them evade U.S. taxes. Now, they call that tax avoidance. I call it tax evasion. But that's me taking the tomato and turning it into a rotten tomato, because I personally believe that whatever money you're making in this country, you need to be paying taxes in this country. Now, here's the problem. Because tax rates are lower in other countries, and other countries will deliberately lower their tax rates to attract U.S. multinational companies, even companies as big as Apple and others, this creates the incentive for companies to create what might be called economic side chicks. They create these economic side chicks where they're married to the U.S., they're making their money in the U.S., but they got the side chick on the side, which might be some small country like, I don't know, Ireland or something, where I think Ireland is an example where they offer favorable tax rates. So Apple was basically declaring their profits in Ireland so they would pay lower taxes when they're making their money in the U.S. How does that hurt the United States? Well, it hurts the United States because your government needs that goddamn tax revenue. Your government needs the money. That's the point. You're $28 trillion in debt. America owes $228,000 per taxpayer. That's insane. That's a lot of money. And you're not going to pay it back By the time your grandkids are here, they're going to owe 50 trillion, and it's going to keep going up and up and up. And believe me, that debt could be eliminated very quickly. All those deficits could be eliminated if wealthy people simply paid more in taxes, right? But at the same time, I'm like a lot of people. I don't trust the government when it comes to money because they waste a ton of the money that they receive. So even though the rich need to pay more in taxes, this is where Joe Biden and I happen to agree. The rich need to pay more. They're not going to pay that much more. And also, the government overspends like crazy. In fact, I think this year they spent $6 trillion, and the 6 trillion went out and 3 trillion came in. So imagine you have a household where every year you're spending twice as much money as you make. You're going to end up killing the family credit card, right? So that's pretty much what you're dealing with the Pandora Papers. You can look it up. It's just search, do a Google search on the Pandora Papers. It's really interesting. It's pretty huge, and I think a lot of people are probably very upset and embarrassed by this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Somebody's going to get in trouble. I don't know how that's going to end up looking. But anyway, don't forget the All Black National Convention is happening the weekend of October 29th in Orlando. We're trying to build wealth for Black people, but not just wealth. We want to build wealth. We want to build families. We want to build Black intelligence. We want to do all of that. So we have the Black Brain Trust. This is our think tank where I've got some of the smartest Black people ever together in Orlando. And you can join us. Go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can be a vendor. Vendors get to sell products there. If you have a business, you can sell your products there. We need sponsors, right? Sponsors, we take care of you. We'll market the heck out of your business and get you in front of hundreds of thousands of people if you want to be a sponsor. If you got it like that, we'd love to have your support. So if you're interested in coming to the convention, bring your wife, bring your kids, bring your baby mama, bring your church group, bring your investment club. We're meeting in Orlando, and all the B1 Nation is getting together. And you can see that's just a fraction of the people that are going to be there. There's actually probably a couple dozen more that are not even on that image. So allblacknationalconvention.com is the URL. God bless you guys. Thank you for listening. I'll check back in with you real soon and talk to you later. Have a great day. I'm gonna go run with my wife, and don't tell her that little part where I messed up in the beginning because I don't want to get in trouble. All right, talk to y'all later. Love you. Peace.